And the high priest had to tell you to do it and had to be there as it was taking place. But in, 1976, Morha, a lady named Morha, tried to help people do it for themselves. And when she did that, she taught a doctor, a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist learned it so well that he went to the psychiatric hospital in Hawaii, offered him a job. And this hospital was horrible. I mean, they couldn't keep a psychiatrist there. The turnover was crazy because the patients were like the worst. And as he decided to do this, everybody was like, why in the world would you go there? So he went there, and for 3 months, he went into his office. He asked for all the charts. So all the charts were brought to him of all the cases that were in the hospital at the time. And he didn't see one patient for 3 months, not one. He just read their charts. And after 3 months, the people that worked there came in and said, what are you doing? You haven't seen a patient in 3 months, but everything is calm out here. How is that possible? What are you doing? And he said, I'm going through the charts. And each chart that I go through, when I read their case, it sparks a memory of mine. And I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you to myself for that memory. And as he did this, the patients were feeling better because we're all connected. And so as he was healing what was the memory inside of himself, it was deleting that from the universe. And he did that over and over and over and over again. I'm sorry, please forgive me. And really, you have to look inside yourself. You have to see the things that are sparked inside of you. Like, we'll go through the day and we'll have a memory, right? As we meet somebody, they'll speak something and we don't even know we're having that memory, but we'll feel something, either angry or resentment or happy or sad, or we'll get an emotion all the time when we meet someone and we don't know why, right? We're just like, oh, there's something about that person, but it's not about that person. It's something that your inner self is remembering, and that has affected you. And at that moment in time, if you can stop yourself and inside just say to yourself, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I'm sorry that I did that in the past to you, to your inner self, because that's what's happening. And we continue to do it on a daily basis, right? We're always doing something harmful to ourselves and we don't even think about it. We're speaking things that aren't kind, or we're doing things, we're thinking thoughts even that create this anger or resentment or frustration or all the time inside of ourselves. But if we stop at that moment and say, you know what, I'm sorry I even thought that. Please forgive me. I'm going to look at my phone throughout this because Roger had that accident, so I just want to make sure that it's not someone calling me for that. So as we, go through our life, if we can start doing that and realize that there's a part of us inside, like our mind is not who we are. Our body is not who we are. There's this inner self. They call it the child, but it's your inner self that really has so many beautiful things that we've forgotten. And so what happened with this doctor and this psychiatric hospital is after 3 years it closed. Why? Because all the patients were either healed or well enough they didn't belong in that hospital anymore. That's a true story. That truly happened. You can look it up. That's an amazing, powerful thing. It's the power of love inside your own self. And what you do is you don't do someone else. We're constantly looking outside ourselves. It's not outside of you. It's not outside. I promise you, it's not outside of you. Look inside your heart. It's there. There's this beautiful thing inside of you that we have been distracted all our life. Like our entire life, people have told us wrong. We've been taught wrong about our own self. And we're all connected. Like there's no one here that isn't a part of each other. Everywhere in the world. Everything in the world. Every tree, every animal, everything has this connection because we are not our bodies. We are this beautiful thing that I'm uncertain how it was created, although this says everything is created by your thought. You have created, and part of this is taking responsibility for everything that has occurred in your life. Not being a victim and blaming it on something else. Oh, this happened because of this. Just take it. This is yours. Own it. And when you own it, it sets you free. You're not dependent on anyone else to do anything to create happiness inside of you. You can do it on your own by forgiving yourself and loving yourself. And this is, I have done it. I can tell you in my lifetime, I have, I've tried to commit suicide. I hated myself. I never thought I was good enough. I always felt like there was somebody, everybody was better than me. I have to take this. This is my other brother. Hello? Hey. Yeah. They're transporting him to MCV, and they're going to do surgery on him. I'm going to go down, I'm teaching meditation class right now, but I'm going to go down after I finish. Okay. Yeah. He's okay. He's got a lot of broken bones, and they've got to do surgery, and they had to give him blood, but he's stable, and they're taking him to MCV. Okay? It's actually a good thing. It's probably going to save his life. No, he's going to survive. He's okay. I talked to the hospital. He was at Mary Wash, and they're transporting him to MCV. No, the nurse said they had called for it, and they were getting ready to transport him, but he hadn't left yet when I talked to him, and that was about, I want to say 6:30. Okay? All right, I'll see you down there. All right, love you. All right, bye. I'm sorry, that was my other brother. He needed to know about our other brother. All right, so, and see, this is an example. Like right now, I have a brother that's going to MCV, he's in the hospital, he's being transported because he has to have surgery. They had to give him blood. He was in an accident. I could be all upset. I love my brother. I love him dearly. But what is me being upset going to do for him? it would create chaos inside of him. You understand? It would make him feel something that he doesn't need to feel. Being strong inside yourself, having love inside yourself. Where does your strength come from? From your love. That, I'm telling you, that is your magic potion. Because if you love, you can overcome anything. And you have to begin with yourself. And if you don't love yourself, what happens?
Nothing good.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Nothing good happens from not loving yourself. You know, all kinds of chaos you create in your world.
You create chaos.
Yes.
You make up lies about yourself.
Yes.
To fill that void and to fill that narrative.
Yes, exactly. But you don't have to. Like, make up the truth. Speak the truth inside. And the truth is, we're all, oh my God, if you could see yourself like I see you, you know, it's so beautiful. And if everyone could see that inside their own heart, this world would be changed. I know it can happen. People have told me, you're crazy. You can't change the world. No, I can't by myself. I don't intend to. My world has already changed. You know, my world has changed. And everybody's world is beginning to change. You can see it. Some, it's changing in a crazy way. Some, it's changing in a beautiful way. I mean, look at Roger. Even though he was in an accident, he's on his way to the hospital, he changed in a beautiful way. We all have times where we backslide a little bit, we make a mistake because we had a thought that wasn't right. That's what happens. Our chaos comes from us feeding thoughts into our heart of not things that aren't right. Anger, resentment, frustration, envy, jealousy. Although any of those things are going to create something that isn't good for you. But if you focus on the loving kindness and forgiveness, what happens? Then it starts changing things and you create beautiful things in your world. And honestly, I mean, I can speak from experience. Like, I began this many, many years ago, at least, I don't know how many years ago. I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time. And I do it all the time. And just recently, I thought, okay, I need to bring it back in again so people can really understand how powerful this is. You can get this book on Kindle. You can buy it in the bookstore. It's worth the money. It's a life changer if you do it. It's a practice. You have to do it all the time. But it's step by step. And if you wake up in the morning, I mean, all the time. When I say all the time, I mean, you wake up in the morning, you begin your morning with, you know what? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Why are you sorry? Because you did things all your life. You fed yourself garbage about yourself. We all do it. It's like they say it's human nature. It's not really human nature. That's another lie that they've told us. It's human nature not to like yourself. What? No, that's not true. The truth is that is a lie. And our nature is really to love. That is our nature. Think about how good you feel when someone is kind to you and loving to you. I mean, you feel it's so powerful. Even when you are not in a good mood and you're grouchy and someone comes up and says something kind to you, it flips the script right away. And you start feeling better inside. Someone does something nice for you. It feels good inside. This is how it works. But you do it inside your own self. You don't depend on someone else to make you feel good. You make yourself feel good. And when you do, you are so powerful, you're unstoppable in a good way, in a really good way. And then people are like, oh, what are you doing? You got something going on. I want to know what it is. They did it to Roger. When Roger came back from Thailand, everybody was like, what did you do? Man, you're different. Something happened while you were there. All it was is he started loving himself. Truly, that was it. And he's not finished. He's still working on loving himself. It's a job we have to do every single day. I have to do it every day. If I stop doing it, then I don't stop doing it because I know what will happen. But if I were to stop doing it, then I would create chaos in my life because I would not remember that I love myself. And when Roger started, he didn't want to hear that. He was like, that sounds stupid, Kim, don't say that. He told me that. My sister told me that. I was like, okay, that's okay. But I have happiness in my life. I have peace in my life. I can see their lives. Not peaceful, not happy. Roger is now, but, it takes time. Be forgiving to yourself. Okay? Part of that is asking yourself for forgiveness and then forgiving yourself. That's why you say thank you, because you actually forgive yourself. Is it making sense? Does everybody, understand? It's not, at first you feel silly. I'm going to say that. At first you're like, oh God, this sounds crazy to talk to yourself and tell yourself you're sorry and you love yourself. That sounds weird, but then you get used to it. And then all of a sudden you actually feel it inside. And it's a beautiful thing. The love inside of you is so powerful. And we have spent our lives not being kind to ourselves, our entire life. I mean, that's no joke. I'm 59 years old, and I would say 50 years of it I spent not being kind to myself. That's a long time. Roger's 62. He told me this in Thailand. He said 62 years and I never knew what happiness was. Wow. That's crazy, isn't it? To think that for the first time you experience happiness at 62. It's beautiful. He's beginning to understand himself. And people say, oh, you really helped Roger. No, I didn't do it. I did not do it. I couldn't make Roger do anything. I mean, that's the truth. I gave him tools and I said, it's your option. And he chose it. He chose to use them and he chose to do it himself, which is the same thing everybody here does. I use Roger because he's an extreme case. He's extreme. He went from, and he'll admit it. He's admitted it in this class, from doing cocaine, doing all kinds of drugs. Cocaine wasn't the only drug he was doing. Drinking every day of his life, he was drinking. And it wasn't just a beer. To not drinking at all and not doing any drugs. And actually being happy about it. That's why I use him, because it's such a, extreme, from one extreme to another, but it's beautiful. And now life for him is different than it was. He still has things he's working on, but we all have things we're working on. That's not a problem. The problem comes when we don't work on them. That's where the problem is, right? When we decide, okay, I'm just going to go with my thoughts that create all my suffering, and I'm going to sit in that and be miserable, right? And then we are miserable. That's what happens. Misery comes. And then we start gathering friends who are also miserable, because misery loves company. But the opposite is true. When we have kindness and love in our heart, then we start gathering friends who are kind and loving, who want to change their life, who want to have a beautiful life of peace and happiness. There's no shame in that. It's an amazing thing. And that's what the world wants. Everybody in the world. I don't care who you are. They may say, no way, I don't want that, because they don't know it, but they're all searching for it. Every single person on this earth is looking for peace and happiness. There's not one person that's not looking for that. And you got the key. You got the key to unlock the door. All you got to do is do it for yourself. There's no one that will do it for you. You can look for people. I have an ex from my daughter. I don't mind using myself because it's truth, right? And we split up 39 years ago. Probably 30, 40 years ago when she was just born, okay? And she's 40. I haven't seen him. He gets my number maybe 3 years ago and calls me. I know you're lonely. See, this is people who are in their chaos, right? We made a mistake. No, we did not make a mistake. We didn't make a mistake. Either, being together wasn't a mistake because we created a beautiful person. And that was my journey. I had to go on that journey. It taught me a lot. But I didn't make a mistake not being with him either. Because I'm at peace now, But he was like, no, you have to be lonely. Spoke this to me. You have to be lonely. No, that's not truth. You don't have to be lonely. Stop telling yourself that. It's okay to be with someone. I'm not saying don't be with anybody. But I'm saying if you are by yourself, embrace that too. Because why not? Why? We don't have to have someone in order to be whole. We're already whole. And when we're whole inside, that person that we're supposed to be with will show their self. They will be there for you. If you're supposed to be with someone, they're going to be there when you're whole. That's how your peace comes. When you're healing yourself and you're whole, then that person that is whole will come. And then there's two whole persons dependent on themselves, not on each other, that can bring peace with each other. That's a beautiful thing. That's the kind of relationship you want. You don't want a relation. Hopefully you don't want. You may want that, But in reality, if you had a relationship where someone was, here and doing themselves and secure in themselves and happy with themselves and at peace and in balance, and you were also in peace and in balance, and you came together, that's a powerful union right there. That's an amazing union. And that's what you should want. Don't go out looking for somebody. Go inside yourself. Heal yourself, and the right person will come automatically. They'll show up. It's like magic. It's magical, I know that I will be, and most people get all freaked out when I say this, but I'm going to speak it anyway. I know that I will be not with someone for the rest of my life. Why? Because I know my job on this earth is to do what I do. And I travel a lot to do this. And there's not many people that would understand how much time I spend with other people, helping them, teaching them. So, and I don't need a distraction. This is my purpose in this world. And I'm okay with that. I'm not unhappy about it. I'm not sad. I don't go, oh, I wish I had. I don't even, it never enters my mind because I know my destiny. I know what I'm supposed to do. So that's what happens when you heal yourself. You start understanding what your purpose is because we all have one. There's no doubt about it. We all have a purpose. We're not just in this world to walk around and then die. We're in this world really to help each other and figure it out inside our own self. And when you do, it's beautiful. Like it becomes this beautiful thing that you can just live in peace. You're balanced. You're not up here all, oh, this is great. Because you do get that when you get the relief from the suffering. The first couple times you get relief from suffering, whew, it's like a high, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people here have actually experienced that. And then you get on this high, and then what goes up's got to come down, right? And because you're not in balance. And so you come down and then you suffer because you're down. But you really, if you're here, you're not suffering, you're not extremely happy, you're in peace. And that peace is blissful. It's undescribable, really. Because you see things for what they are. You don't suffer over them. And what I mean by that is we see things, okay, let's take my brother's motorcycle accident. My father lost it. He was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Oh, this is horrible. I'm like, no, it's not horrible. And that sounds bad because, I'm sorry. And that sounds bad because it sounds like I'm not compassionate. But I am. I can see beyond the motorcycle accident. I know that he's okay, first of all. He's not dead. But I also know we're all going to leave this world at some point. You understand? So I can see all the things, it's good, even though it looks like it's bad. And we think in this world, oh, it's horrible. These things are horrible. Is it really? Because do you know what the next thing will be? We don't. What is good is bad. What is bad is good. Because what we see with our eyes and what we hear with our ears isn't truth. It's just our thoughts creating that. Like we're seeing it and we think something and then we make an assumption about it and we say, okay, that's what it is. But in reality, isn't that? That's a hard concept for everybody to grasp. I see it's like deer in headlights now. What is she talking about? Okay, so what I mean by that is, I'm trying to think of an example so it can clarify for you. So,
can you use COVID?
I can use COVID. So COVID, it was a horrible thing. Everybody thought it was horrible. People died, blah, 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 blah. First of all, I'm not sure it was exactly what they said it was, number one, okay? That's my personal opinion on it. I don't think it was what they said it was. They stirred everybody up and got them in fear. What happens when people are in fear? They can control everything. You are under control when you are in fear. You have no control. See? And so all that happened with the world. It wasn't just here. It was the world. But now, people are, they're oh, we need to look and do for ourselves. See, it changed things. We thought it was terrible, right? But yeah, that said, yeah, see, it changed things, right? We thought everybody was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Now look, we're all sitting here. What is good is bad, what is bad is good. But it created something. People now, they question, they don't just assume. A lot of people, some still go, okay, you want me to do that, I'll do that. But for what? I mean, like, it wasn't real. It was real, but it wasn't real. Sounds crazy, but look at it. They created something, and I believe they created it. I mean, it's hard to say
They created the hysteria.
Yes.
Put it like that.
Yes, they did. They
'Cause
created.
the hysteria was all made.
Yeah, it was. It was made up. It didn't need to be. But in that, people started to wake up. They started to see, okay, I see what you're doing, right? And it started our lives, if we pay attention, we can just glide through life. But the truth will set you free. The truth. The truth will set you free. Whenever you speak to yourself, like I'm not talking about speaking to other people. I'm talking about speaking to yourself. It includes other people because when you say it to yourself, it's going to come out of your mouth. You know, I mean, it will. If you speak it inside yourself, then you'll start living it. It's automatic. But if you don't speak the truth, and I'm sorry, I have many things going on in my mind right now. Like I was thinking, I'm going to tell you exactly what I was thinking. Earlier, before everybody got here, you said something, and I said, what is that? And you said, I'm worried about what other people think. That was a truth she spoke, right? So if we're always speaking truth inside ourselves, our problems will be hardly anything. But it's when we start not speaking truth to make other people feel a certain way, it's going to create a problem inside of us because we are not being truthful inside our own self. And it's an amazing thing when we are, because in our mind, we tell ourselves, oh, if we speak this or if we tell the truth on this, then they will think this of me. Something that we say to ourselves. That's a thought, right? That's a thought we have. We can't tell them this because they'll think this. Number one, how do you know what they're going to think? And I'm going to tell you something. When you speak truth, people will thank you. They will thank you. And it's never what you speak inside yourself, the lie that you're telling yourself, because that's what it is. When you start going, okay, I can't, if I let people know this, then they're going to think this of me. You've already lied to yourself. You've started creating a scenario inside yourself that is untrue because you're not speaking truth. You're making an assumption about someone else's thought. That is not a truth. Now, this is important because we do it all the time. We do it to ourselves all the time. I don't want them to know this, or I don't want to speak this, or, if I tell them I'm doing meditation, they'll think I'm weird. I hear that a lot. If I tell them I'm doing meditation, they're going to think I'm strange. Oh, but you're going to be surprised. Mm-hmm. You will be surprised. And I spoke that to Roger, like as he was leaving Thailand. He was a little nervous about coming back and not having anybody, I was hardcore on him. So he was a little nervous about coming back and not having somebody there to crack the whip on him and go, oh, that's not a truth you're saying to yourself, And what I said to him is just always speak truth inside of yourself. And people are going to ask you how they can get what you got. And he called me after he got home and he goes, oh my God, you're 100% on that. People are asking me. Of course they are, because they see the peace inside. Doesn't matter. If you speak truth, it will always be okay. Because you're being true to yourself. When you're not true to yourself, you have disrupted your system. I'm going to say that again. When you're not true to yourself, you're disrupting your system. And then you don't feel good about it. You're being someone you are not. Does that make sense? Are y'all getting what I'm putting out? Because, it's really important. If we always speak truth, I got to keep track of the time, sorry. If we always speak truth, peace will follow. Complete truth. Because here's the thing. If you don't speak truth, the truth always gets found out. It always gets found out. Anna's grinning because something happened. It always does. Like no matter what it is, eventually it's going to come back around. And then you're going to have to eat your words that you spoke that wasn't truth. And it's not a good dessert to have. It's never good when we're speaking things that we want. And usually it's because we're trying to please the other person. Like we're trying to make them think something about us. Like we're a good person. You are a good person. So you don't have to tell a story to make yourself look like a good person because you're already that. This is what we don't understand. We think in our mind that people see us the way we see ourselves. That's kind of sad, isn't it? If we're thinking of ourselves in a bad way and we think everybody's thinking of us like that, that's not a truth. The truth is our hearts are beautiful. The person, the thing that we are, the soul, whatever you want to call it, we're all the same. And if you could see that, your life would change like that. There's no difference between anyone sitting in this room. We have different bodies. That means we're driving a different car. That's all that means. We're driving a different car. So what? But our soul, when we leave this body, we're all the same. When we enter this body, we're all the same. It doesn't matter. We are made up of this soul that is pure love, but we don't see it with our eyes. And it's a shame because if you could see yourself like I see you, you would love yourself. I mean, it's an amazing thing. It takes practice because we're not used to loving ourselves here. We've been taught from little, from the time we're born. We'll speak something when we're little kids and our parents will say, that's not right. Don't say that. And then we internalize that and we keep that going throughout our life. Because as we're little, we're told that from babies. We're told that and over and over and over and over and over again, all throughout our childhood, our teenage years, and then into adulthood, then we got somebody else. We go to work, we got somebody else telling us some kind of garbage about ourselves, right? But none of it is true. None of it is true. If you look at little children, oh, the love they have for each other and for people, that's truth right there. They don't care what color your skin is. They don't care what nationality you are. They don't care where you came from. They're just happy. They see your soul. They're like, oh, let me hug you. Oh, let me hang out with you. I mean, I had a little girl from Thailand text me and go, can you bring me to America with you? I'm like, can't quite do that. I might have something to say about that, but this is life. This is true. If we can see beyond our physical being and look inside our hearts, we will see beauty. It's magical. And it's love, it's kindness. That's what it is. And it gets tainted along the way. So we have to practice it. Ripping off peeling the onion. You peel an onion, you take off those layers to get to the meat of the onion, right? That's what you're doing with yourself. You got to peel those layers back because there's a lot piled on there. It's okay. It's okay. Step by step. We'll do it. And we'll help each other. See, the beauty of it is like this class here, there's no judgment on anybody. We have all kinds of people here. It doesn't matter. We're all here to help each other. And sometimes I don't record. I try to record because there's people in other parts of the world that watch this. But sometimes I don't because there's things that we need to address and help each other with in class. That was last week, right? Last week we had a lot of emotion and a lot of things going on. So we didn't record it because we needed to help each other in that. And it was beautiful, wasn't it? Everybody got something out of it because we weren't judging, we were helping. We were there to go, okay, we got you. We're going to help you. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to figure this out all together. No problem. That's beautiful. That's loving kindness. That's the way the world can be. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we lived in a world where if somebody doesn't know you, just walking down the street and they see like something's wrong, they stop and go, can I help you? Is there something that I can do for you? Can I walk with you? Can I give you a hug? Like if somebody does that now, people think they're crazy. What's wrong with him? He's crazy. Truth is, that's kindness. I went over to the food co-op over here, and yesterday they had this, tent set up where people were selling stuff. And I walked over and I saw this guy, and I could tell right away he had some suffering going on, right? And he told me right away, because that's the way people do me, right? He started telling me about how COVID had hit him hard and his wife left him and he had all these things. And I was like, oh, well, here's my YouTube video. You can watch that. But part of the issue with that was he was selling things that were all dead. Dead butterflies, dead turtles. They were in cases. A stuffed duck. Nothing was alive. Bats, dead bats. And I didn't say it because he didn't ask me. See, sometimes we don't need to speak because it's not about us. Let them, I gave him the YouTube channel. He can watch it if he wants to. If he doesn't, that's okay too. You cannot be attached to an outcome because you can't dictate the outcome unless it's inside of you. Once you do you, it's hard to explain. Once you do you, and you start just generating that loving kindness out all the time, all the time, all the time, then people around you start feeling that. They start feeling that, and they start going, okay, I want some of that. I want to know how to do that. And they'll watch you, and they'll start doing it themselves. You don't have to speak, really. You don't have to tell, you don't have to run around and try to convert people into loving their self. You do you. And as you do you, they will see it. Like it's unmistakable. Truly, I can walk into a room and I can tell you, oh, yeah, that person got love for their self right there. Immediately. Because it's like sunshine on a rainy day, right? It's been raining crazy, but the sun pops out and you're like, oh, even though it's hot, it doesn't matter. The sun comes out and you're like, oh, yeah, there's the sun, right? That's what it's like. You can see it and you start to recognize it in people. Then you're like, oh, that's the one I want to sit next to today. You start feeling it because you can see their shine. And you will be doing that inside your own self, and you'll be shining too. That's how it works. So tonight we got 5 minutes. Let's do a meditation. And we're just gonna, okay, have you meditated before? Okay, cool. All right. It's all good. Yeah. You know what? Here there's no judgment. So we're going to take three deep breaths in and out, and then I'll kind of talk you through. It'll be short because Huh?
I'm trying to get the floor too.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
All right, take a deep breath in. Let it out. Another deep breath in. And let it out. And one more time. Deep breath in. And let it out. And just breathe. Breathing in. Allowing yourself just to be in this present moment. Breathing out. Letting go of anything that has been dragging you down. Breathing in, allowing yourself to see the love in your heart. Breathing out, letting go of any anger or frustration you have. Breathing in, forgiveness. Feel that forgiveness. Feel it in your heart. Forgiving yourself for anything that you may have done to harm yourself. Letting go of all the past things. Breathing into the present. Breathing out anything that could possibly harm you. Breathing in. Just staying here in this present moment. Breathing out. Letting this breath just heal your body, heal your mind. Breathing out, letting go. Just being present. Breathing in, feeling your breath go in, going down into your lungs. breathing out all the toxins in your body. Just breathing and letting yourself heal. Breathing in, breathing out. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take another deep breath in and let it out. And one more time. Deep breath in and let it out. Metta ceto vimuttiya, karuna ceto vimuttiya, mudita ceto vimuttiya, ubeka ceto vimuttiya. Okay. Everybody good? So just so you know, what I just spoke, I'm going to give you a copy of, but it's Pali language, which is an ancient language. And what it says is emancipation of the mind by loving kindness, emancipation of the mind by compassion, emancipation of the mind by sympathy in others' welfare, emancipation of the mind by equanimity. So we're freeing our mind. That's what that is. So I'll give you this. There's a couple of chants that I do. Did I give you one too?
I don't think I have one.
Okay. Do you have one? Did I give you one? Okay. I know everybody else has one. So that just.
Roger took one home for me last week. And he's probably gonna give it to me tonight on the way here.
Well, now you got it. So, all right, everybody good? Anybody have any questions, concerns, anything they need to talk about before we end class tonight? No? Everybody good?
Is there anything that we can do for Roger? I mean, what?
You can do Ho'oponopono inside yourself for Roger. Because, the doctor at the hospital did it and inhaled how many people? We don't know. Maybe a whole hospital full. So if we all do that, it's going to change the world. I'm telling you. Believe it or not. It sounds crazy, but it's true. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week. Thank you for joining. See you next week.
Are you okay to drive down and everything?
Am I okay?